Right now, as the Madison area continues to grow, developers are looking for more land. We hear from the owner of a longtime family farm why he's selling it to the city. Plus, with more people voting early, some are wondering what happens to their ballot before it's counted. We take a journey through the process to find out. And later, with just over a week to the election, Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are in Madison stumping for Vice President Harris. We welcome you to News 3 Now at 6. As the need for housing in Madison continues to grow, city developers are eyeing up properties, new and old. Our Maddie Himes brings us to one site with a long Madison history.
For the first time since the 1860s, the 130 acres of land here on Marty Road won't be farmland and won't belong to the Marty family.
I've been here for a long time, and people go by all the time. They just stop, and people walking by or biking by, and Mom would be out in the garden. They'd stop and talk to her.
Ron Marty worked on his parents' farm for years and still lives next door to the land, trading the backyard sounds of cattle and livestock with that of cranes and excavators.
There have been developers after the farm for decades.
But up until this summer, the city had settled for surrounding lots.
The Marty Century Farm was one of the holdout properties, if you will. A lot of the neighborhood has developed to its north, to its west. The city's had a plan for the area that includes the Marty Farm and surroundings since the late 1990s.
But of course, at that point, Mom and Dad were not interested. I mean, we're still an active milking farm, and that was our business.
The Marty family held on to the land until this past summer, but they gave up their cows and subsequently their business back in 2009. Now the city of Madison and Viridian Homes will be in business on the land. The plans include 6 buildings with more than 200 apartment units, as well as a new subdivision lined with more than 150 single-family homes, plus stormwater management infrastructure and an expansion of Elver Park.
This is going to be the culmination of many decades of planning.
It's very bittersweet, you know, but we knew it was inevitable that this was going to happen, so it was just the timing was right.
Reporting on Madison's west side, I'm Maddie Himes, News 3 Now.
And Viridian has already started laying the groundwork for the home developments. The Elver Park expansion is set to begin in 2027. Prairie du Chien police have identified a 39-year-old man as the one who stabbed a Prairie du Chien man inside a home over the weekend. The chief of police there, Kyle Taynor, says the suspect's been identified as Jesse Slaughter. The victim has been identified as 65-year-old Daniel Welsh. The suspect and victim, they say, knew each other. Charges of first-degree reckless homicide and bail jumping are being referred to the Crawford County DA. Police were sent to the 1000 block of East Wisconsin Street for a welfare check. And there, they found Welsh with several wounds on his body. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Slaughter was previously charged out on active bond through Oneida County for disorderly conduct and criminal damage to property. Warmer temps sticking around a little longer. Let's check your first one forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Madison. Jacob?
Yeah, the temperatures are only going to warm up from here. It's going to be incredibly unseasonably mild tomorrow. But first, let's take a look at the current temperatures. Now, they're not going to drop much more throughout the night. Right now, a current temperature of 62 degrees. Our forecasted low is 61. In fact, temperatures might actually rise a little bit as we head into the later overnight hours. Looking across the area, a few locations have gotten a little bit close to the 50s, but it looks like our region specifically all in the 60s at this hour. Now, we also are dealing with some gusty winds. Now, overall, it's only going to get windier going forward, but still pretty windy right now, up around 15 miles per hour. The gusts are over 20 miles per hour, and the gusts may exceed 35 miles per hour over the next couple of days. So looking at the evening forecast, again, they may drop a little bit, but temperatures are then going to rise later in the night. So the low temperature will happen probably right about now, if not the next few hours. And then as we look at the morning temperatures, they're going to be in the middle to upper 60s with plenty of cloud cover. And it's only going to get warmer for Tuesday, where we could see high temperatures in the lower 80s. That is right. Now, the record high tomorrow is 82 degrees, so we'll be right on that mark. I'll talk more in detail about the temperatures and show you the rainfall that will finally cool things off. All of that coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Wisconsin election officials are reporting a surge in early in-person voting as more people use the process as a way to cast their ballots with certainty without waiting for that final Tuesday. But what happens to your ballots before they're counted? Armand Rahman takes us through the journey.
The state of Wisconsin has seen a 40% increase in people voting early in person this election season as compared to 2020, according to the Wisconsin Elections Commission. But how does that ballot go to becoming a counted vote? If you voted early in Wisconsin in the past week, odds are you saw your absentee ballot go from your hand to the clerk's hands to this red bag at your polling place. Now what? Well, kind of like our friend, the Bill.
Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city.
The little scrap of paper is just a ballot, about to go on its own journey.
Those get transported back to the clerk's office.
Dane County Clerk Scott McDonald says that journey is called a chain of custody if your polling place isn't already at the town or village hall. Per Wisconsin law, your ballot gets stored and locked in a secure location until Election Day.
So 7 a.m. they start opening them, putting them through the machines and counting them. The names then go in the poll book. And that's been the process for a long time here.
But this year, that process in the state of Wisconsin got a bit overwhelmed. Clerks saw so many people on the first 2 days of early in-person voting, they reported delays in printing labels from the state voter database. Those labels are associated with each individual voter and record the ballot automatically into My Vote.
We found that when people handwrite on it, the handwriting is hard to read. And you get a lot of errors that way, and the labels are just so much better.
McDonald says the printing issue has been resolved and expects early in-person voting to grow in popularity.
Election Day should go a little smoother because the turnout on Election Day will be a little bit lower.
Voters can track the progress of their ballot on myvote.wi.gov leading up to Election Day. Reporting in Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
Political parties will be heavily campaigning in Wisconsin over these final 8 days before the election. Happening today, Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance made 2 stops in the state, one in Wausau earlier this morning, another in Racine. Also today, Democratic vice presidential nominee Minnesota Governor Tim Walz delivering remarks at the Wisconsin Aluminum Foundry Co. in Manitowoc. Governor Walz's wife Gwen and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden also making a campaign stop over in La Crosse. And tonight, here in Dane County, Democrats are focused on turning out the progressive vote, and 2 of the most high-profile progressive voices in the party, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont and New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, are in Madison to rally for the Harris campaign. Our Braden Ross is at Overture, where they're set to speak in a few hours. Braden, why is this appearance so important for Democrats right now?
Hey, Eric. Yeah, up until now, a lot of this campaign, especially here in Wisconsin, has been focused on those undecided voters, bringing them over to the Harris campaign side. But now we're in the final stretch, and that means it's all about turning out the base support. And that is exactly why these 2 beloved figures in the progressive side of the Democratic Party are here today in one of the bluest counties in the state. And that's because progressive voter turnout could be a real determining factor in this election. Remember, back in April, almost 50,000 Democrats in Wisconsin chose not to vote for Biden in the presidential primary. They went for the uninstructed option as a protest against Biden's handling of the war between Israel and Hamas. To put that in context, though, Biden only won Wisconsin in 2020 by about 20,000 votes. But Harris has also seen support from big-name conservatives. Notably, Liz Cheney has been out on the campaign trail with her. I asked one progressive voter in line here if she thinks that could hurt the enthusiasm on the left.
I really don't, and I think for the undecided voter, and there are so few, at least in Dane County, there are so few. For the undecided voter, I really think that those Republicans coming out gives them a little bit more of a sense of, okay, this is normal. These guys were a little bit more towards moderate, and they're willing to work with Democrats in the office, as opposed to some of the Republicans that are out there now that are not.
But back to the progressive base here in Madison and Dane County. There is certainly a big turnout tonight for this event. I just stepped outside and looked, and the line goes all the way down the block around the corner here at the Overture Center to see these 2 progressive names speak here tonight. So they're set to go on stage around 7:30 tonight. We're hearing they're going to open the doors here in just a few minutes and start letting people in. But we'll keep you updated, and we will stream that live for you on channel3000.com at 7:30 when they take the stage, and we'll hear what their message is tonight to the progressive voters here in Dane County. But for now, reporting live at the Overture Center, Braden Ross, News 3 Now.
All right, Braden, thank you. Now, as for the presidential nominees, both will also be in Wisconsin on Wednesday. Vice President Harris will hold a rally at UW-Madison, and there she'll be joined by several musical artists. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump will be up in Green Bay, and that event will take place at the Resch Center starting at 6 on Wednesday evening. Former Packer quarterback Brett Favre set to speak at that event. Still ahead at 6, how Target is making it easier on your wallet to host Thanksgiving dinner this year. Plus, McDonald's updates the E. coli outbreak that has sickened dozens, why it says it's now putting the quarter pounder back on the menu.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices.
Gruber Law Office. One call, that's all.
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 Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
One call, that's all.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Washington is corrupt. Senator Baldwin says she fights against Wall Street, and yet she lives with a Wall Street executive and gets all this money from Wall Street. She says she's standing up to Big Pharma and Big Tech, but look at the money she rakes in from Big Pharma, Big Tech, and their executives. Senator Baldwin doesn't work for you, she works for them. I'm Eric Hovde, I approve this message. I'm not taking their special interest money, I'll only work for you.
When it comes to your critical medical decisions, you should have the final say. But extreme politician Joan Ballweg says you're wrong. She supports criminalizing abortion even after rape and incest. Or to save the life of the mother, Ballweg would jail doctors for giving life-saving care. And Ballweg even wrote the law that could deny women access to birth control. Joan Ballweg would put extreme politicians in charge of your body and put all Wisconsin women in danger.
They say post it or it didn't happen. But out here, in the places we were made for, you'll have to take our word for it. Find somewhere the internet's never been. With a family of Broncos designed to get you there.
Lease a new Ford Bronco for $399 a month for 36 months, only at your local Wisconsin Ford dealer.
What if you never had to worry about what you could do? Because you could do anything. Anywhere could be the center of everywhere. And boundaries only existed to be pushed. So the only limit you faced was how big you could dream. What would you do then? Some pretty cool stuff, I bet. Yeah, that'd be some life. That'd be life unlimited.
A growing number of immigrants are chasing the American dream north to Wisconsin. How are our communities adjusting? I'm in Whitewater digging into the realities and the rewards. 3 for the People, Wednesday at 10.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
Welcome back. Target is offering a meal bundle for just $20. That's down $5 from last year. It feeds 4 people, includes all the traditional Thanksgiving favorites. It includes a frozen turkey up to 10 pounds, potatoes, canned green beans, cream and mushroom soup, box stuffing mix, and jarred gravy. Target also says it's offering deals on other side dishes such as mac and cheese and desserts like apple and pumpkin pie. Other retailers, including Aldi and Walmart, are also lowering prices of their Thanksgiving meal deals. McDonald's says it'll resume selling quarter pounders in all restaurants, and this news comes after tests showed the beef patties that are used in McDonald's famous sandwich tested negative for E. coli. The outbreak linked to the quarter pounder has sickened at least 75 people in 13 states. 1 person died. The CDC and other federal agencies are still trying to determine the source of the outbreak, but the FDA previously had said the slivered onions were to blame. And still ahead, it's the end of another season for the Sunburst Terrace chairs. And the battle over working from home, it continues as more companies start enforcing new remote work rules. Plus, could we see record highs this week? Jacob returns. A complete look at the forecast after the break.
During COVID, Joan Ballweg took $500,000 in federal loans she never paid back. Then voted to block assistance to help other Wisconsin businesses grow. Joan Ballweg, out for herself, not you.
I'm working harder than ever just to pay the bills and provide for my family. But here's what Kamala Harris thought my money should go to instead. Job training for illegal immigrants even after they commit crimes in America. Hotel rooms for illegal immigrants while our vets sleep on the street. Sex changes for illegal immigrants out of my pocket. Seriously, have these people lost their mind? Kamala Harris can never, ever be our president.
Preserve America PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Eric Hovde's trying to scare you. The truth is, no sex change surgeries take place on minors in Wisconsin. 0. And Tammy Baldwin didn't give funding to a transgender clinic. It's actually a youth homeless shelter. Eric Hovde knows that. But he's a billionaire banker who thinks he can lie about anything, including falsely attacking Tammy Baldwin by questioning her personal life. Wisconsin's better than Eric Hovde.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. Why hasn't she done it?
4 years, radical Kamala Harris created the border crisis. Thousands of accused murderers, rapists, even terrorists pour in. Each crime they commit makes American victims. Innocent victims of Kamala's open border agenda. They were bludgeoned, raped, strangled, stabbed, shot, and murdered. Kamala created the border crisis. She won't fix it now. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Get an 11% rebate on everything for your next project at Menards. Shop our huge selection of window images, blinds, and shades. These room-darkening faux wood blinds are $24.89 after rebate. Plus, get them cut to width for free in-store. OSI Quad Window Door and Siding Sealant is an effective air and moisture barrier. It's weather-resistant and designed for superior sealant performance. Right now, it's just $5.99 each after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
With Chevy trucks, be ready for adventure. With power you can count on. Capability that doesn't compromise. A hard-working EV with more range than any competitor. And the potential to take you anywhere.
Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all 2024 Silverado 1500 pickups. Or get $5,750 total value on this Silverado. See your Badgerland Chevy dealer today.
This is China, and this is Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg invested thousands of dollars in Chinese companies, but voted against using state funds to help grow companies here in Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg, out for herself, not you.
You're watching News 3 Now at 6.
More companies are requiring employees to return to the workplace instead of working from home. Amazon recently mandated a 5-day in-office work week. Other companies are also changing their work from home rules. A recent survey found about 1 in 5 employees say they are ignoring their company's return to office policy.
We know that the companies are very serious about it. That does not mean that people don't have some flexibility here, but that needs to begin with a conversation with your manager, not just a choice that you make on your own.
LinkedIn says these days only about 20% of job listings are remote or hybrid. Happening today, the Memorial Union removing hundreds of the yellow, orange, and green terrace chairs from the Union Terrace. The terrace chairs and tables departures mark the end of the Wisconsin Union's outdoor film, music, and art entertainment series known as the Terrace Season. It usually takes place from late spring to early fall each year. The first full terrace season occurred back in 1929, and each year the Union welcomes about 1 million patrons to the terrace.
The good news is when the terrace chairs go away, the outdoor entertainment continues indoors with free film showings, free and low-cost art events, and lots of things for folks to enjoy.
And one of those events is a free showing of the Rocky Horror Picture Show on Halloween with a live shadow cast. Could see record temperatures the next couple of days. Jacob rejoins us now. Complete look at the forecast. Jacob?
Yeah, although it's going to be windy tomorrow, they probably should have waited at least one more day because it is going to be very mild with near record warmth. But as I mentioned, it is going to be windy, and that's going to continue through Halloween with stormy weather late Wednesday. Now, let's first take a look at the temperatures compared to the records. Now, I do want to point out that for tonight, we actually already hit 62 degrees. The forecasted low of 61 was going to occur around this time with warmer temperatures, so we won't break that record. But forecast for tomorrow, 81, record 82. How about Tuesday night? We're forecasting a low of 67, which is 9 degrees above the record for the warmest low temperature for that date. So incredibly unseasonably mild. And we could also break the record on Wednesday as well before temperatures cool down for Halloween. Now, the big reason that we're going to see these mild temperatures is the strong winds coming out of the south, which will bring that warm air up. It's going to continue to be pretty gusty as we head into the day on Tuesday. In fact, tomorrow will be even windier than today, with wind gusts up to 35 miles per hour at times, and that's going to continue Tuesday night into Wednesday as well. Now, there will be a little bit of a break from the wind once that cold front moves through. Notice calmer winds behind it, but as it moves through, we're going to see wind gusts up to possibly 40 miles per hour. But the winds are going to then pick right back up as we head into Halloween with continuous wind gusts in the 30s. So it is going to be very windy the next couple of days, but we also have a chance of rain. And if you can believe it, there actually is a chance of severe weather. This is for Wednesday evening. Now, we don't have an alert day because the hazards will be some gusty winds, minor hail, but that will be about it. And I also do have my doubts on the chance of widespread severe weather, but a few isolated locations definitely could see it. So for Wednesday, we'll see some showers and storms develop to the northwest in the morning and early afternoon. And then for the evening, it is going to push across southern Wisconsin. It will definitely bring heavy rain at times and a minor chance of severe weather. But the good news is that although we could see some lingering showers for Halloween, it does look like we are going to be dry by the time we get to the evening hours for peak trick-or-treat hours, but it also will be cooler. Now, as far as the amount of rainfall we're going to see, we could see over an inch. It looks like the most rain will be to the west and northwest of our area, but much of the region definitely going to see some much needed rainfall. So even if we don't see the severe weather, we still are expecting rainfall across much of the area. Now, as far as your Halloween forecast, right around trick-or-treat hours, we'll see temperatures right around 50, and it will be pretty windy. So, you know, it will be dry, but obviously conditions could be a bit better. However, I'm sure a lot of people will take the forecast for peak trick-or-treat hours, considering the day before during this at the same time we could be seeing some heavy rainfall. Also want to point out that we are expecting quite a bit of rain for next weekend and early next week, mostly in the form of just some consistent showers, but more rain's on the way after the rainfall Wednesday.
And still to come in sports, an update on Jordan Love's injury. Hear from Matt LaFleur next on News 3 Now.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
My husband and I were elated to find out that we would be having another baby. But after many tests, my doctors agreed that we had to terminate the pregnancy. It was the worst day of my life. You should know that Eric Hubdy supports laws that stop me and my doctor from making that decision. And that's a ban with no exceptions in cases of rape or incest. It's a ban that could turn doctors into criminals. He opposes abortion, period.
Win Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hubdy, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
I'm Elizabeth Grabby, and this is Home. Whether it was saving our family farm, starting my small business, or standing up to utility rate hikes, I've learned to solve problems by bringing people together. And right now, we have some real problems to solve. Corporations jacking up prices, and extreme politicians banning abortion. I'm Elizabeth Grabby, and together we can bring down costs and protect the right to make our own medical decisions.
They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. Why hasn't she done it?
For years, radical Kamala Harris created the border crisis. Thousands of accused murderers, rapists, even terrorists pour in. Each crime they commit makes American victims. Innocent victims of Kamala's open border agenda. They were bludgeoned, raped, strangled, stabbed, shot, and murdered. Kamala created the border crisis. She won't fix it now. Make America Great Again, Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertisement.
The Packers improved to 6-2 yesterday with a thrilling 30-27 walk-off win in Jacksonville. But for the third time this season, Green Bay won the game with Malik Willis at quarterback. Jordan Love injured his groin on the first drive, and after hobbling all half, he was eventually taken out on this hit early in the third quarter. It was really a snowball effect on that groin. Now, it was reported that it's just a groin strain, but Matt LaFleur couldn't confirm that. He did say this.
If he can go, he'll go. So we'll see where he's at by the end of the week. And but if we feel like he can't protect himself, then we certainly wouldn't put him in that position.
Well, Jonathan Taylor and Braylon Allen scored touchdowns yesterday afternoon, and another Badger, former Badger that is, joined them last night. Isaac Garendo finds the end zone for the first time in his career. It's a memorable one. The 49ers beat the Cowboys. With all the momentum that Wisconsin had going into this weekend's Penn State game, the way that it played out stung. They were outscored big time in the second half and were outplayed in the fourth quarter. Point blank. Luke Fickell says they're on to Iowa, who the Badgers have lost 2 straight against. The Hawks have the longest win streak against the Badgers in the series since 2009 with that. And to change that, Luke Fickell says it starts with matching what Iowa is best at.
If there's probably one of the most consistent things that I would say in this entire league is I would say the toughness of Iowa, from what I know and from what I've experienced. And so I don't think that's changed. I don't know that it will change, and obviously it's not going to change with Coach Ferentz there. I would imagine if you ask some of those West Coast teams or the newer teams into the league that what they are realizing now in particular if they played Iowa is it's going to be a fight. It's going to be about toughness.
And on November 15th, when Wisconsin men's basketball plays Arizona, Bo Ryan will enter his rightful place in the rafters. The Badgers will lift a permanent banner with Bo Ryan's name on it. The legendary coach was inducted into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame just a couple of weeks ago.
That's an event to look forward to. Quick final check of the forecast.
Yeah, we're going to see some windy weather and also warm weather the next few days with storms possible Wednesday evening. Some of them could be severe, cooler by Halloween.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Thanks for joining us at 6, folks. Have a great evening. We'll be back here tonight for News 3 Now at 10.